Hi there, welcome to this really quick video looking at the fourth pillar of Islam, which is Zakah. You might see this spelt sometimes with a T at the end rather than an H. That's completely normal. There are different ways of spelling the same word, so don't be confused if you see that. You've already got a little bit of a description from me on Show My Homework, and you've also got a link to some textbook pages. This video is just to add a little bit more information if you're struggling with the textbook pages and with the information that you've currently got. Okay, it's a little bit of an addition for you. So it's not going to be that long. I'm just going to talk a little bit about what Zakah is, why it's important for Muslims, and why it is a requirement for those who can afford it. Okay, so if we were to kind of really simply define Zakah, we would define it as Muslims who are wealthy enough are required to donate 2.5% of their savings every year to those in need. And you can see that in that statement there's a few different words that are coloured in, okay? And I'm going to unpick those words and what those words mean for you now. So to start with, Muslims who are wealthy enough. There is a threshold set out in Islam which dictates who is wealthy enough and who is not wealthy enough to donate zakah. Those who can afford to are required to give zakah. Those who can't afford to, those who are poorer, are not required to give zakah. If you are yourself in need of financial assistance, there is no point you giving money to other people because you need that money for yourself. Okay, so zakah is a requirement for those who are able to give it. And by requirement, I mean it's compulsory for those who can. Okay, the Quran says very, very clearly, those who are able to give should give. And the reason why it is a requirement for Muslims rather than just a kind of non-compulsory thing is because it is really beneficial not only for others, i.e. people in need, but it is really beneficial for Muslims themselves, the ones giving as well as receiving. Have a look at this. On the bottom of the screen, you've got this blue box appearing. We need to realize that in religion, in Islam, as well as other religions, everything comes from God. Okay, in Islam, Allah is the creator of all. He is transcendent, He is omnipotent, He is eternal, He has made everything in the universe. Everything belongs to Allah, and He has given it to us human beings to look after, to use, but it belongs to Him, and that includes money. Okay, so money in Islam is a blessing from Allah, and how we use that money is one of the things that we are judged on. If we use it selfishly, we are going to be judged on that. If we use it selflessly and we give it to those who need it more than us, we're going to be judged on that. Okay, so the idea of using your money in a way which pleases Allah is a really, really important teaching in Islam. Okay, it's about not being selfish. It's a requirement to give zakah so that Muslims can practice that self-discipline, that action of selflessness rather than selfishness. Okay, so it's about remembering that all things come from God, and it's about remembering that to be grateful for money, to not be attached to it, and to use it in a way which is going to help other people and other members of Allah's creation. Okay, so that's why it's a requirement, one of the reasons why it's a requirement for Muslims. Next up, I want to define what the word savings is. Okay, savings is different to income. Later on in another lesson, we're going to look at the difference between zakah and the Shia practice of khums. Khums is using income. We are looking in zakah at savings. Savings is what you have left over after you've spent your income on essential products such as food, water, heating, etc. Okay, so it's all of the kind of disposable income that you've got, the stuff that you have left over once everything else that is vital has been purchased, and that money is where you take your zakah payment from. So it's the 2.5% of your savings. So let's say, for example, I got £1,000 in a month, okay, as income, And of that £1,000, £900 of it was spent on essential things, such as my mortgage, such as my food shopping, such as my heating bills, my electricity, all of the stuff to keep myself and my family's house running. Okay, that means that I've got £1,000, I've spent 900, left over, I have £100. 2.5% of that £100 is what I am required to give as zakah. Okay, so that means that I give £2.50. Okay, and that's my payment for the month. Now, some Muslims will give zakah monthly and do like a small payment. Other Muslims will give zakah yearly. Many Muslims try to combine zakah with the month of Ramadan, because if you think about it, if we've just said that one of the big parts of zakah is the idea of giving money away to remember to be a little bit less selfish, the whole kind of month of Ramadan in the pillar of Sawm is when Muslims are fasting, and one of the reasons in which Muslims fast is to be thankful for Allah for food and to remember that we are incredibly lucky to have that food on our table. And there are many people in this country and in this world who do not have food on the table every single night. Okay, and Sawm really puts Muslims in perspective with the needs and the plight of the most vulnerable and the most poor in our societies. And so if you've just spent a month fasting and living much more acutely aware of the needs of people in poverty, now might be a really good time to give some money to help them. So a lot of Muslims will combine zakah with Sawm. And we've also got this idea of those in need. That's the fourth term I want to really unpick from this statement. Those in need largely covers the poor and the vulnerable in society, but there is also other ways that zakah money is spent. It's spent to help those in debt, and it's also spent to help those who are working for Allah. So people like imams, people who work within mosques, who work within Islamic communities. It also often goes towards helping poorer Muslims who want to go on the pilgrimage of Hajj, which we'll look at next lesson. Helps fund some of those pilgrimages as well. Okay, so it's not just a charity for those in sort of desperate financial need, but it's also a way of helping people who need money in the Islamic community as well. Okay, there is a link that I'm going to attach to a video that is from Islamic Aid, and they talk about how they spend some of the zakah payments. Okay, so I'm going to add that in the bio, which I think is something that YouTubers say quite a lot. I don't consider myself a YouTuber, but I'm going to do the whole action that anyway, it's down there somewhere. And that's pretty much the definition of zakah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this screen up here, and I would like you to read through these statements, and I want you to rewrite them to show the correction. Okay, you're going to have the worksheet. I want you to fill that worksheet in, and I also want you to do these sentences just to check your understanding. So do these after you've watched the video and do these after you've completed the worksheet. Okay, and next lesson I'm going to give you the answers to this sheet so you can check if you got them right. Okay, so there's one error in every single statement, and you need to work out what the error is and then write the statement correct. For example, number one, all Muslims give zakah, would be corrected to say Muslims who are wealthy enough are required to give zakah. Okay, good luck. If you need anything, let me know, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.